Remmorii squad? It's your boy Remmorii, back with another video. Checking in with the Artist Way, week 7. This week was all about recovering a sense of connection. What it reads, it says, we turn this week to the practice of right attitude for creativity. The essays, exercises, and tasks aim at excavating areas of genuine creative interest as you connect with your personal dreams. How many days this week did you do your morning pages? With them 7 out of 7 again. Have you allowed yourself to daydream a few creative risks? Interesting. That's a good question. I think the visual image file, as well as just general daydreaming, has allowed me to think more in terms of abundance and more imaginative. I don't remember anything specifically speaking to the creative risks. Yeah, I think one creative risk that I came across throughout week 7 was the idea of using old music, like my old music, and sampling it for new music. Like, that was an idea that came, which is pretty interesting because I've never thought about, like, old music technically isn't old, it's just more material to work with, right? And so I guess that was something that I did daydream about and made a note to actually implement and execute at a certain point. So I have allowed myself the opportunity to think, and I've been really remembering my dreams a lot, which has been super cool because I get to pull from it and see different things come to light. The next part of the question says, are you coddling your artist child with childhood loves? It's a good question. I think recently I started playing the drums again a bit more. Like, that's something that I loved doing as a kid, just playing the drums. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say that I've allowed my artist child to do. Another thing that I did, funny enough, it asked that question. I really liked skateboarding as a kid. So for my artist date, I know I'm skipping question, but for my artist date, I went for a longboard stroll throughout the week. I went for a longboard stroll throughout my lunch break, and it just reminded me of being a kid, and I was like, wow, I haven't done this in so long, and like my feet were hurting, and it was just interesting because I've wanted to do it for so long, and I wanted a longboard for so long, but then when I got one, I never really used it. So I thought that would be a great opportunity to use my longboard. I just find it so interesting that it's asking about specific things, like, are you coddling your artist child with childhood loves? It's so funny that I picked that specific one, and I thought, well, this is just the best thing because I don't really have time to go out this week, but I still made a point to have my artist date. But it's just so interesting the way that the check-in questions always correlate to the week. You don't really anticipate it, but it's like it knows what you're going through along the process, which is very remarkable. Did you do your artist date this week? Did you use it to take any risks? What did you do? How did it feel? As I said, I went the longboarding. Did I use it to take any risks? I would say that I took the risk of skating on the street, like skating on the actual street and not staying on the sidewalk. I also took the risk of going at lunchtime when I had a lot of work to do, but I knew it was important to prioritize. And so I just felt like a responsible rebel because I was just like skating throughout the streets and like cars were behind me, but like they acknowledged that I wasn't being reckless. I was just trying to have fun, and the experience was very eye-opening. It made me realize how much of my childhood neighborhood I haven't just explored, and it's just been there. So it felt very liberating, but also felt super nostalgic. But at a point in time, it stopped being funny. It was just a mode of transportation. I don't mean to say it stopped being fun, but the excitement died down, and I was like, well, I can't walk because my feet are hurting. Well, I guess I could have walked, but my feet were hurting, so I was just like, I need to keep pushing through this and like enjoying the gliding aspect, because I used to hate skateboards because you have to pedal so much just to get momentum. But longboards, their bearings are bigger, so you get to skate for a longer period of time, which is more enjoyable in the long run instead of constantly having to put your foot down and pedal through. So it felt very satisfying until it wasn't. But I'm glad that I did it because it was good to get out and move and be in the sun and longboard, because I think from the time that I've had it, I've only longboard maybe 3 to 4 times, and I've had it for a while, maybe 3 to 4 years. So it was a very interesting, it was a very interesting artist date. I think it was one of the shortest artist dates that I've had, but also the one that reminded me of my childhood the most, which is funny. Did I experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? I did experience synchronicity. What was it is a good question. There was something that I experienced synchronicity in I know like synchronicity I did for week 8, but for week 7, I don't think I did experience any synchronicity. Nothing's coming to mind, so I'm not going to force it. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. Well, my car broke down, and that wasn't very fun because I was driving to go and watch the Demon Slayer movie. Such a great movie. And my car started overheating. And it was funny because I've always been like a bit weary and scared about driving my car just because I wanted to make sure it's in the best shape possible. It's not always in the best shape, but it just was overheating. And like, it was cool because I wasn't freaking out because it's happened before and I knew how to navigate through it and I prepared myself accordingly. It just sucked. And it felt like an issue for my recovery because it just takes up a lot of mental space for me. And instead of me thinking about other things that I'm already worried about, I'm thinking about my car now, and those things that I'm already worried about are still there. So making time to create and like being responsible and making progress didn't always seem that way. But one of the mantras that was part of this week's challenge was, well, we had to write, treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. So giving myself a lot of grace throughout the process, not to overreact or think too much about it. And like, we'll deal with it, we'll get through it, was very helpful, but it was slightly challenging. I also noticed that my inclination to want to create from a music standpoint isn't there, but it's there for other things. And so I've just been creating wherever I'm being called to create. And it's been very interesting because even though I found that I wanted to sample old music, I wanted to prioritize video editing because I want to get these videos out sooner than later. And it's been quite a process to edit them in the most creative way. So a lot of my creativity is coming through my videos now. Not that it's a bad thing, but I also find areas to still be creative through how I dress. And I think that's super helpful because I don't always, this past 2 weeks, I haven't had a lot of time to sit down. I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and really hone in on music or my portfolio. It's just mainly been video editing and finding time to record and read and things of that nature. So I'm noticing that there were some issues there that felt like mental roadblocks, but I was very kind to myself and helping myself remember that like, I've handled this before, I can handle it again, and like this happens, like it's not your fault, you didn't do anything. And just treating myself with grace throughout this process to help myself ensure that I'm going to be creative. And this one was about being like connection and being like connected to my younger self and a lot of the things. And I stayed up making a collage. That was so fun. Like, I should have gone to sleep one night. I think it was like the Thursday night going into the Friday, and I knew that the weekend was going to be busy. So I stayed up to 3 a.m. and I had to get up early for work, but I made this super sick collage. And I cut up a bunch of magazines. There's a couple of magazines still there, and it was one of my favorite things to do. And it's so funny because the book says that a lot of her students really liked this one, and I really liked it. It was super cool. Like, it was such an intuitive process because I knew that certain things wouldn't fit in certain places. So it was super exciting, and I'm really grateful for this week. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming this week and listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share, ask anything if you want. I'm here. I really like this process and it's really changing me, I found, and I'm glad that I'm able to share it and still be creative and put out videos because this is holding me accountable to put out more videos, and I absolutely love it because what's funny? When I was doing this chapter, I was thinking, oh, I spent money today, sorry. I just realized, I just saw the counting thing. I need to write down the money that I spent today. But when I was doing this, I forgot what I was doing, but I remember thinking as I was editing, like, oh, always wanted to be a YouTuber. I always wanted to put videos out and like edit them and have a community. And now I'm doing that. I thought that's so cool because that's what I wanted to do as a kid, but it feels different now because I want to be somewhere. I want to be able to make money from YouTube and to sustain myself and have the freedom to create. But back then it wasn't about that. It was just about having the confidence and the ability to put videos out and build a community and connect with people and help people. So it's cool that I am where I wanted to be. And I think that's the right attitude for creativity, as it says. Practicing the right attitudes for creativity and recovering a sense of connection. So This was interesting. This was a very interesting week. This was one of the weeks where I got mad the most, and it was very interesting. So thanks for being here. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week in week 8 for recovering a sense of strength. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.